when you have thin and thinning hair also. Let's face it, thinning hair can make you look older than you really are. So stop hair loss. Call toll-free 800-307-1023. That's toll-free 800-307-1023. Call now.
Use only as directed.
I really don't want to talk about this, but I will. I'm just so mad. I didn't get asked to the junior prom, and it's raining, which means by the time I get to school, I'm soaking wet. Dad picked me up just after I left, and I was so mad. I got out, and he said, wait, your mom said to give you this. I forgot my lunch money, and then I dropped it in the water, and I was late for history, and so at lunchtime, I had to find something on John Stuart Mill, which, of course, our library didn't have. So I had to walk all the way down to the office to call my mom, and she found something on the internet and called me back. And Karen, she wouldn't even help me, and that's a whole nother story. But Dad helped me conjugate nouns or whatever on the way to the swim team workout, and then he read my history paper while I was in the pool, and of course, I forgot the bibliography, so I had to do that with my mother when I got home, and it made me totally forget that I put my jeans in the washer that morning, and I hate it when they sit wet like that all day and smell like mildew, but my mom said she put them in the dryer while I was at the swim team, and, you know, I'm just not going to go to the prom, no matter who asks me. I just want to stay home with my mom and Dad.
Family.
And just hang out.
Isn't it about time?
Unless Dustin asks me.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
If you're a diabetic, or if you know someone who is, please listen carefully and get ready to write down a phone number. Through Certified Diabetic Supplies, Inc., diabetics who qualify may be able to receive their diabetic supplies at no cost. Participants must be covered by health insurance or Medicare Part B. Those who have Medicare Part B must be insulin dependent. HMO coverage is not acceptable for this program, and Medicaid is acceptable only as secondary coverage to Medicare. CDS does all the paperwork and ships the supplies directly to the patient's door with no shipping and handling charges. Call CDS today and let us make your life with diabetes much easier. Remember, no HMOs, please. Call 1-800-590-4217. Call now, 1-800-590-4217.
Nonsense! Who says you can't eat the foods you love and lose weight? Just try Fat Whacker and be careful not to lose too much weight. Used as directed, Fat Whacker is the all-natural dietary supplement with ingredients clinically proven to fight fat without crazy diets or sweaty exercise. Fat Whacker includes superchitosan, the amazing new fat-absorbing fiber. Try Fat Whacker risk-free and get enough superchitosan to sweep away up 1,000 grams of ugly fat. More than you'll find in 81 cheeseburgers or 120 slices of pizza. Research proves Fat Whacker's ingredients support your body's natural fat-burning ability, so it helps you burn fat 24 hours a day and get a slim, sexy body. It's drug-free, stimulant-free, and not in stores. Don't wear that fat. Whack it with Fat Whacker. Call now for your 60-day risk-free trial. Call 1-800-717-8888. Lose weight or your money back. Call 1-800-717-8888. That's 1-800-717-8888. Again, 1-800-717-8888.
You used to have only one choice when it came to individual retirement accounts, but IRAs have multiplied. Now there are Roth IRAs, spousal IRAs, education IRAs, and the one that started it all, the regular IRA. Some can help you pay for a first house. Others can fund your kids' college education. Some give you a tax deduction right now. Others can help you avoid paying taxes once you retire. But which IRA is right for you? The original or one of the newer versions? If you don't know, you need advice. The kind of advice you may not get from a discount broker. The kind of individual advice you will get from Morgan Stanley Dean Witter.
As a Morgan Stanley Dean Witter financial advisor, I'll help explain the many IRA choices that now exist. Together, we'll look at your life goals, including retirement, and work out a plan to help you achieve them.
Call 1-800-THE-DEAN to get our free IRA brochure. 1-800-THE-DEAN. Member SIPC.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Where Augusta's biggest stories break first with Austin Rhodes. Weekdays at 3 at 580 News Talk Radio, WGAC.
The toll-free international line, call your AT&T operator and have them dial 800-893-0903. This is Coast to Coast AM on the Premier Radio Network.
That would be me. Good morning. Dr. Eric Scott Pearl is here. He is a chiropractor, but all of a sudden one day he found blisters on his hand. That's a transference. And he healed. And I want to hear about that moment when all of a sudden he knew from wherever it came that he had the power to heal. That moment. Don't you? Stay right where you are. Would you like to look and feel 10 years younger in 10 weeks? Now there's proof that aging can be slowed down, even reversed, with HGH, human growth hormone. You've heard me talk several times about the incredible age-reversing benefits of HGH. According to thousands of studies, HGH levels can help you look and feel younger. That's why I take Ultimate HGH, a natural formula to help boost your body's own production. Designed for in the book 10 Weeks to a Younger You by Dr. Klatz. If your goal is to help improve energy, stamina, lose unwanted fat, diminish wrinkles, enhance memory, immune function, and vision, then Ultimate HGH is for you too. And when you order 2 bottles of Ultimate HGH, you get a third absolutely free, only about $33 a month. It's a tremendous savings off the typical $100 a month for comparable products. Plus, you'll receive the amazing book 10 Weeks to a Younger You by Dr. Klatz, a $20 value, free. So call now, 1-800-557-4627. That's 1-800-557-4627. 1-800-557-4627.
Excuse me.
What?
I couldn't help noticing you disco queens have dry, bloodshot eyes from shaking your groove things all night in this smoke club. May I suggest you get down with Clear Eyes eye drops? They remove redness and have an ingredient to moisturize.
Wow, thanks. Yeah, but just who are you?
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am. The difference is clear. Clear Eyes.
According to scientists who study this stuff, people blink their eyes 20,000 times a day. So if you're not careful, you could easily miss how fast Geico Auto Insurance starts working on your claim. Often we can handle details in hours instead of days. And in just 15 minutes, or roughly 210 bats of an eye, Geico could save you 15%. So call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. You may blink twice when you see the savings. That's 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
A medical journal recently called it a silent epidemic. Thousands of Americans suffer each year from ulcers and other stomach problems caused by aspirin, ibuprofen, and related drugs. If you're an arthritis sufferer and want to avoid these internal medications, now there's an alternative called Jointritis. Jointritis combines a powerful and clinically proven external pain relief medicine with triple skin conditioners, lanolin, glucosamine, and chondroitin. Jointritis, 100% natural arthritis pain relief ointment. Jointritis, available at Walgreens.
Oh, by the way, I am honored. I am very honored by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, which is the prestigious newspaper in Las Vegas. They have just awarded me the Best of Las Vegas 2000. It says, I put it up on the website for you. It says, Art Bell has been selected by the staff of the Las Vegas Review-Journal as the best local radio personality. And I'm very honored by that. I've been in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas market, both locally and nationally now for about 14 years. So a copy of that award is up on the website, and one other, which is very nice as well. You can find that on my website right now at www.artbell.com. Now, to Dr. Pearl once again. Doctor, if you would, that moment
that moment in detail. What happened?
Well, what happened was this person had come in. Now, I had a few things strangely leading up to this point. But what had occurred at this point was the patient had come in for a backache, which was a normal occasion for any chiropractor.
You bet.
And I noticed when he came in, well, you could more than notice, he had a birth deformity. Apparently during his birth process, the oxygen was cut off to his brain for a period of time. And the end result of that was that he was born with a right hip that had pulled way up short, pulled his entire leg several inches short. His right foot would rotate inward and step on top of his left whenever he was in a standing position or even a lying position.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially he had one functioning leg that would sort of split apart for him to take a step and then come back together again. For balance, he couldn't stand in an erect fashion. He would have to lean at approximately a 30-degree angle forward. So each of his steps was sort of like someone who had a hunchback with a lean off and a swipe and a land back again. He was an attractive, intelligent 26-year-old kid, and he came in for back pain. And I placed him on the table, adjusted his neck, and then I told him to close his eyes and relax for a moment while the adjustment set in place. Now, at this point, I had already, because of some previous events, been experiencing a strange sensation coming through my hands. While his eyes were closed, I held my hands near his feet and watched his foot start to move out from that turned-in position, and then it moved back in again twice.
Well, a chiropractor has his hands on a patient all the time, right?
Well, yes, except my hands were off the patient. I'll backtrack. May I?
Yeah, you may.
All right, let me backtrack a moment. Here's what had happened. In August of 1993, I had interacted with a rather unusual woman on a beach in Southern California. She had told me about some unusual work that she did and suggested that I needed the work done. I asked her to explain it, and she started talking about meridian lines on the body, lines that are used for acupuncture and acupressure and such. And her explanation of this work was that way back at some point, we had become disconnected from these meridian lines, which in their original design attached us or tied us in to the ley lines that are on the planet that encircle the globe and cross at the areas of the sacred power cities such as Machu Picchu and Sedona. I know there are others. I can never think of what they are.
Well, that sounds awfully new agey, but...
Yeah, no, I hate that word.
But... So, it's obvious we're connected to the Earth. I mean,
right.
Any fool can see that human beings are connected to their environment, our world.
Well, not any fool.
Well, I think...
But a lot of fools.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I think anybody, it should be obvious. Native Americans know it. I know it. We are a product of our environment.
Of course.
Our world.
So she explained how these lines then also tied us into the rest of the universe and the other planets and such, and went on. And I thought, all right, that's a fascinating story. And she said she did this work that would reconnect us, and I agreed to allow her to do a little bit of work on me, after which I had experienced absolutely nothing I was aware of. Mm-hmm. But I thanked her very much for the session and gave it no more of my mind. And what happened was later on that evening, I found that I had awakened at that night and a lamp had turned itself on next to my bed. I felt people in my home. I went looking for them. I couldn't find them. Mm-hmm. I went back to sleep, ignored the process, and Monday when I went into the office, 7 different patients started telling me that they were aware of people in the room with us. So I sort of didn't pay too much attention to that either, except for other patients were saying they could feel my hands when I wasn't touching them. And it had become a little game. I would start to play with them. I would hold my hands places, and they would say, oh, I can feel your hands here and there. And I sort of let that go, too. And then what happened was this person came in with the leg that I told you about.
Right.
And now I didn't know him, and he came in to see a doctor, and I had all full intent of behaving appropriately as a doctor should. It was my 12th year in practice. So I handled him as I would anyone else, and then after the adjustment, I told him to close his eyes and lie there and allow the adjustment to set. Mm-hmm. Now, when I felt safe, that he could not see what I was doing, was when I went down and held my hands by his feet and started to see this response. But after his foot moved in and out twice, it had remained in the same position it was in originally. Mm-hmm. I walked around towards his right hip and rested my legs on his right hip, and his foot started to move in and out again. But this time, it finished in a normal outward position, a position that he had never known in his life. And it stayed there. And so when the session was over, I said, all right, I think we're done. And he stood up 6 feet tall with 2 independent legs for the first time in his life.
Wow.
That's when I knew something was happening. It was just prior to that my palms had blistered twice and bled once.
Bled?
Now, and please listen, when I say bled, I really don't mean it bled as we have a visual of a stigmata, in Catholic movies.
What exactly do you mean?
I mean it bled sort of as if you had stuck your palm accidentally with a pin or a needle. That little bit of blood that comes out, but it's not really enough to go anywhere. Just the same, it's blood.
A specific point on your palm or a general?
Yeah, actually, it was sort of central and towards what you'd call the thenar pad, or the thicker, meatier area towards the thumb.
Oh, okay, I know obviously what you're talking about. Yes,
right.
Okay, all right.
That's where the blood had occurred.
And when this happened, when that manifestation occurred, what were you feeling with your hand? What were you feeling once this began?
There were multiple sensations that would go on. There were heat, pushing, and pulling, sort of like magnetic positive and negative charges.
Right.
There was also sensation of wet and dry simultaneously, hot and cold simultaneously, and a sparkling, bubbling sensation, sort of like a cross between those old sparklers you'd play with as a kid and club soda.
Bubbly, sparkly.
Yeah.
Heat, pushing, pulling, I get it. So, and all of this without touching the person involved, merely...
Without touching the person involved. I mean, I had him close his eyes because I didn't want him to catch me standing there waving my hands in the air looking, foolish.
Gotcha. Reflecting on the lady you met, the occurrence that night, do you have any idea or any thoughts on what happened to you?
I do, and we can keep it at a sane point, and we will also go out there with it, depending. What she explained was that she had brought in new, what are termed axiotonal lines to reconnect me to the earth and the universe. Now, I gained more insight into this with time, because apparently what had happened to me had not happened to anyone else she had done this work with. She had done it theoretically, and it had a response with me that when I would speak with her and with everyone else that she knew, this had not occurred with anyone else. Yet now, as I hold my hands by different people, not everyone, but a large number of people end up having healings which become physically and laboratory documented by hospitals. And I'm not sure what it is, but I can tell you, if we're going to talk about what she did, she seemed to have tied me into something that was timeless. Because the healings that take place involve large amounts of physical tissue change. And physical tissue change, if it involves nothing else than one thing, it involves time. And these things happen almost instantaneously, seemingly to us, or at least in an overnight type of fashion, in about, I would say, 85% of the occurrences.
Now, you just said that a number of them have been documented. I would like to hear about that. In other words, what have you done? Obviously, people with chronic conditions have X-rays, CT scans, and so forth and so on.
Right. I mean, even the first person came in with X-rays.
X-rays.
And, of course, a lot of the cancer patients with tumors will come back in and, or I'll get contacted by their oncologists.
Yes.
And they'll say, these are the changes. What did you do to my patient? And I'll tell them, quite honestly, I don't know. Because I don't know
because you
what
really
I did
don't
or what
know.
went on.
Yeah.
Now, we have ongoing studies. I was invited out by Andrew Weil to speak at the University of Arizona. They have a department there. As a matter of fact, one of your guests, Dr. Gary Schwartz, do you recall?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Gary Schwartz and his wife, Linda Russick, are both PhDs out there, and we are involved in ongoing research projects where one of the things they did was I had given a seminar out that way, and they had done research studies with the attendees before they came to the seminar or met with me, measuring their, I'm going to make certain assumptions in what I'm saying that they're measuring their energy outputs, let us say, using such measurements as what would come from random event generators called an REG.
Right.
Or an Eagly wheel, which is a wheel that would spin according to energetic fields that it would pick up. Mm-hmm. They would do measurements with gamma radiation detectors to notice gamma radiation in the energy fields around them. And then after the seminar, they would retest them and find increased results of what they were able to do upon intention.
Break all that down into English. In other words...
All right. In other words, these people would come in. They would get measured in certain strange little ways. We would have a seminar. The seminar would be where I would allow them to feel what was coming through me and sort of share it. As you witnessed maybe in the movie, in The Green Mile, where the character, John Coffey, who was the person who had the healing capability...
Yes.
would grab Tom Hanks' arm, and then Tom Hanks would feel something.
Yes.
And see something. Well, somehow I can hold my hands near people, I had discovered, and they can feel what it is that's coming through my hands. And when I'm finished, they seem to have the ability to carry a part of that with them and affect other people's healings. In other words, we tend to think of healing as a gift given to a person. For the first couple of years, as word started to spread, because, patients would say, gee, I'm better, I'm changed, what did you do? And I'd say nothing and don't tell anyone. And, of course, that went over real big. No. And as word started to spread, people would come back for more. And eventually, I would start getting requests from around the country, could you come out and teach this? And I said, no, you cannot teach healing, because I just knew you couldn't teach healing. And
Doctor, how do you separate what you have done from placebo effect?
Well, when this first started, you have to realize that I thought I was a chiropractor. My patients thought I was a chiropractor. You couldn't have much better double-blinded a study. There was no anticipation on either end. Now, as time goes on and people come in with anticipation, yes, it becomes more difficult to separate what would be placebo or mind over matter and what would be reality. However, a very strange proof.
I'm not sure it matters, by the way.
I'm not sure it matters either. Personally,
as long as it works. As long as it works.
That's right. And yet, we still have another insight which adds to the intrigue here, which is now, because the majority of the people who come to see me fly in from all around the world, they don't come alone. They come with a husband or a wife or a child or a sibling. And what will happen is I'll end up going in with a couple, have a pleasant conversation with them, and then the accompanying spouse or whoever will leave for the reception area to sit and wait. And the other one will turn around, do a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, glare at me and say, I just want you to know that I think that you're a quack, and I would not be here if my husband or wife didn't make me.
Yeah.
To which I usually respond, well, you have already paid me your money. You may as well lie down and be open to whatever could come about. And with that, the majority of these people have experiences of visual, of scent, of sound, and have healings. Let me tell you who tends, if anyone tends to, not have a recognizable healing. The people who come in saying, I've heard about you, I know that this works, I've read about this all my life, my family's waiting for it, my friends all believe in this, I've studied this and that and the other, and this is going to bring me the healing. And some of these people are the ones who don't have the experience.
God, that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
Well, no, it doesn't, because these are the people who should be predisposed to having a placebo effect work on them.
I know. And this does make sense. Listen, what makes sense about this is these people are so attached to it having to work that their attachment and intensity blocks it. In other words, in essence, this seems to be removing the placebo effect from the situation and allowing more so for it to be clear that the people who have the healings are having real healings, because it's having nothing to do with their belief system. It's not faith healing. This is not get up on the television, smack someone in the forehead, fall over backwards, and you're checking.
Well, I don't rule out that kind of stuff either. I mean, it goes on, and there are people who are healed in that manner, and maybe that is the placebo effect. I have no idea. Maybe it's just carny stuff and doesn't last. I really, honest to God, Doctor, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know either, which are probably the three most powerful words either you or I could put together in the world.
It doesn't make sense to me that people who would think that it would work would be perhaps the least likely to be candidates for it to work on. I don't understand that. I don't.
Have you, you're familiar with some of Deepak Chopra's work?
Yes.
Okay. Have you read his book called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success?
I have not.
Okay. To me, that is his pinnacle production. And one of the 7 spiritual laws is the law of detachment.
The law of detachment.
Detachment.
All right.
Or maybe it's attachment. It's one of the two.
Well, it doesn't matter. Hold that.
Right.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. It's top of the hour time. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM with Dr. Eric Scott Pearl, who can heal with his hands. I'm Art Bell.
My sweet Lord.
WGAC Augusta.
My first Masters Press interview came in 1978. 11th place finisher Tom Weiskopf was very gracious. For a 12-year-old reporting for a 7th grade newspaper, it was pretty heady stuff. Austin Rhodes here, and as part of the coverage team bringing you Masters updates and commentary on WGAC, we continue a tradition of excellence which spans over 70 years of coverage between us. With CBS Network reports and our own local coverage, WGAC remains your best source for tournament information and insight. The Masters in WGAC, an Augusta tradition.
Your new source for durable medical equipment and pharmaceutical needs is here. It's MediQuip. Actually, MediQuip's been around for years, but now they're expanding to better serve you. The MediQuip grand opening is this Friday and Saturday, the 24th and 25th. They'll have free food, free screenings, including blood pressure, glucose, and diabetic foot screening, along with shoe fitting with podiatrist Dr. Michael Bailey. Learn about Medicare diabetic shoe billing, too, and you can register to win free prizes, including a Liberty 3-wheel scooter. MediQuip, Peach Orchard Road next to Barney's. And yes, they do bill Medicare, Medicaid, and most insurance.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? Do you know about the tremendous price war among the major term life insurance companies? You may be eligible for substantial savings if you currently have coverage.
For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user issued preferred $1 million of coverage is only $103 a month guaranteed level for 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user issued preferred $500,000 of coverage is only $130 a month guaranteed level for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level premiums for 20 years. Great rate for smokers as well. If you need new or replacement term life insurance, call for a quote on how much you can save. Call toll-free 1-800-862-TERM. That's 1-800-862-TERM. Talk to Bob Levinger, independent life insurance agent specializing in term life insurance. Don't wait. You're probably paying more than you need to. Call Bob for a quote today, toll-free 1-800-862-8376. Rates and availability may vary by state.
580 News Talk Radio, WGAC Augusta, a Beasley Broadcast Group station. CBS News. I'm Jim Shenleby. The hostages are free and uninjured. The gunman is dead, and the nightmare is over for a neighborhood near Baltimore. Police shot and killed accused murderer Joseph Palczynski after two of his three captives managed to escape through a window as he slept on the couch. Baltimore County Police Chief Terrence Sheridan.
We had a successful operation this evening, saving the lives of 3 hostages.
A hostage standoff began Friday night when Palczynski holed up in the home of his former girlfriend's mother, taking her son, and boyfriend captive. He had been the subject of a manhunt since early in the month when he allegedly killed 3 people while attempting to kidnap the girlfriend. President Clinton now officially sightseeing in India. He wrapped up his official activities in New Delhi Tuesday with an address to the parliament.
I believe both nations should join the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Work to launch negotiations on a treaty to end the production of fissile materials for nuclear weapons.
The president making those comments on Wednesday. India's prime minister vowed to stop nuclear testing but rejected any possibility that the nation would give up its nuclear weapons altogether. A dangerous prescription drug is no longer available. The FDA requesting the removal of the controversial diabetes drug Resolin, and manufacturer Warner Lambert quickly complied, yanking the drug from distribution last night. It has been linked to liver failure and at least 63 deaths. Critics say federal regulators should have never approved the drug because of its obvious side effects. Dr. Sidney Wolf of the group Public Citizen.
The FDA has had a really terrible record in the last few years of having drugs needing to be taken off the market, in many instances drugs which had clear toxicity before approval. And I think that it's the friendliness of the attitude between the FDA and the drug industry that is the cause of this.
Attorney General Reno has ordered the Justice Department to resume proceedings to return 6-year-old Cuban shipwreck survivor Elian Gonzalez to his father in Cuba. This after a federal judge threw out a lawsuit filed by the boy's Miami relatives aimed at keeping him in the U.S. Peter King reports from Miami's Little Havana.
Just over a dozen supporters outside the Gonzalez home. There are more reporters and TV trucks here than there are people, but here come a couple of supporters now. One man carrying a Cuban flag and one end of a banner. The other man holding up the other end of the banner that reads, "Clinton plus Castro equals money. No Castro, no Clinton, no problems." Peter King, CBS News in Miami's Little Havana.
Elian's Miami relatives have already begun the process of appealing the court's decision. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside of Paramount Studios in Hollywood to protest plans to produce a television talk show hosted by radio talk show host Dr. Laura Schlesinger. She has riled gay activists with comments on the air suggesting that homosexuality is deviant and that gays are biological errors. On Wall Street, the markets rallied following the expected Fed boost in interest rates of a quarter point, the Dow gaining 227. The NASDAQ Composite was up 101. This is CBS News.
Baloney! Who says you can't eat the foods you love and lose weight? Just try Fat Whacker and be careful not to lose too much weight. Used as directed, Fat Whacker is the all-natural dietary supplement with ingredients clinically proven to fight fat without crazy diets or sweaty exercise. Fat Whacker includes superchitosan, the amazing new fat-absorbing fiber. Try Fat Whacker risk-free and get enough superchitosan to sweep away up to 1,000 grams of ugly fat. More than you'll find in 81 cheeseburgers or 120 slices of pizza. Research proves Fat Whacker's ingredients support your body's natural fat-burning ability, so it helps you burn fat 24 hours a day and get a slim, sexy body. It's drug-free, stimulant-free, and not in stores. Don't wear that fat. Whack it with Fat Whacker. Call now for your 60-day risk-free trial. Call 1-800-985-SLIM. Lose weight or your money back. Call 1-800-985-SLIM. That's 1-800-985-SLIM. Again, 1-800-985-SLIM.
Prosecutors have filed grand theft charges against one of two Roadway Express workers who were arrested in connection with the rip-off of 55 Oscar statuettes last week. The other worker won't be charged, police say, because they don't have enough evidence. The National Park Service has banned jet skis and other personal watercraft from dozens of national parks. It's also restricting their use at other parks and could ban them later. Park visitors have long complained the noisy machines shatter the tranquility of the parks as well as pollute the water and air. Among the parks where they are now banned altogether, the Grand Canyon, Canyonlands, and Glacier. Students who violate some school rules at Eastern Connecticut State University may now choose an alternate penalty. Instead of citations or fines, they can attend the opera, Puccini's Tosca to be exact. Dean of Student Affairs, Kirk Peters.
I want them to appreciate it, maybe not like it, but maybe they can come back to this years later and connect us with this experience.
Jim Sheneby, CBS News.
You already know the Wall Street Journal is the most trusted source of business news and information, but there's much more to it than that. Now you can get the Journal for 50% off the regular rate, just 37 cents a day when you order with your credit card. Plus, you get the lively Extra Friday section called Weekend Journal, all conveniently delivered to your home or office every business day. Designed just for you, Weekend Journal will help you enjoy your free time to the fullest. You'll discover great wines at reasonable prices and exotic travel destinations that can fit your budget. You'll get insightful book, movie, and theater reviews, plus the popular catalog critic with best buys for shopping from home. If it's in your weekend, it's in Weekend Journal. And best of all, you get Weekend Journal free every Friday with your subscription to the Wall Street Journal. So for just 37 cents a day, get free delivery for 8 weeks of the Wall Street Journal, including Weekend Journal, the extra section that makes Fridays really worth waiting for. This limited time offer is available to new subscribers in the continental U.S. Call now 800-345-9400. That's 800-345-9400 for the Wall Street. Buy them where you work or bank.
See news happening? Let your mobile news station know first. 650. Art Bell in the Kingdom of Nye, from west of the Rockies at 1-800-618-8255. East of the Rockies, 1-800-825-5033. First-time callers may reach Art at 1-775-727-1222. And the wildcard line is open at 1-775-727-1295. To reach Art on the toll-free international line, call your AT&T operator and have them dial 800-893-0903.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Eric Scott Pearl is here. He was a very high-profile chiropractor, and then he became a healer. Healing as described to some degree in The Green Mile, which is a movie that if you don't see, you're crazy. That's my opinion. Isn't it funny how people feel differently about movies? Somebody sent me a lousy little fax here that says The Green Mile is a steaming pile of dung. And then he draws a little steaming pile of dung. Boy, I don't know who would say that after seeing that movie. I don't know how they could. I have no idea whatsoever, but it shows you the diversity of views. Nevertheless, it is nominated as one of the best pictures of the year, or as best picture of the year, and very deservedly so. As far as I'm concerned, it is the best picture of the year, no matter what happens when the Academy Awards come out. It's an awesome movie, and I personally recommend it to you. There's no steaming pile of dung, but there is a diversity of opinion out there.
Honey, you know what I want to do?
Let me guess.
I want to cuddle up with you and share a big bowl of horrible Redenbacher's popcorn.
I knew it.
Maybe I'll pop 2 bags.
Oh, Mr. Frisky.
Oh, I love to feed you the fluffy kernels. Marge.
What?
There's a free movie ticket in here.
Where?
A free movie ticket from Orville.
Oh, cool.
But I can't go to the movie without you, baby cake.
Oh, don't worry.
I got it. I'm going to the store and buy every last box of Orville.
1 in 10 specially marked boxes has a free movie ticket. Only 1 popcorn, only Orville.
Honey, take the car.
No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. Offer ends 9/30/2000.
Need a mortgage? Now you can name your own interest rate and terms with Priceline Mortgage. You make an offer, you get an answer in less than 1 business day. Priceline Mortgage will match your exact terms with guaranteed low closing costs and a guaranteed rate, or maybe you'll receive up to 4 offers from some of the nation's best lenders. Either way, you can't lose. And Priceline Mortgage's experienced loan counselors will help you every step of the way. So, name your own mortgage rate and terms online at Priceline.com. Mortgage service provided by Priceline Mortgage, an equal housing lender. Would you like to lose an average of 8 to 10 pounds in the next month? We know that fiber helps reduce the amount of fat your body stores as excess weight. Let me tell you about a revolutionary fiber, chitosan. It's a natural fiber from shellfish. It not only sweeps fat out of the digestive tract like a broom, but it also absorbs up to 10 times more fat than other fibers. You can get this fiber in a formula called Chito Slim. Chito Slim is effective because you can lose weight without changing your eating habits or taking any prescription drugs, and there are no stimulants. It's gentle, it's effective, it's a way to lose excess weight. Now, here's the special offer. When you order a 90-day supply, you get an antioxidant moisturizing cream absolutely free. Call 1-800-557-4627. Chito Slim is guaranteed to work, or you get your money back. It's not available in stores. So, call Great American Products at 1-800-557-4627. That's 1-800-557-4627. You've got nothing to lose but that fat. Once again, Dr. Eric Scott Pearl. And, Doctor, we were talking about why this healing power seems not to work so well for people with an expectation that it will. It just doesn't make sense to me. You began to talk about Deepak Chopra, and so let's continue.
Well, we'll try a different approach. I'll tell you that in the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak speaks about the ability to remain detached, to allow for flow. And when you are attached to something, it actually can constrict or restrict the flow. Let's take a more mundane level example. Let's say you've been running around doing a lot of shopping and other things during a hot Saturday. You come home, you want a glass of water. Right. Now, you know to walk into your kitchen, take a glass down from the cabinet, walk over to the sink where you flip on the switch and place the glass under the water, and water will come.
Right.
That is, you have single-minded focus of your attention, yet you remain detached from the situation. The same situation, if you were attached to it, would mean that you'd walk up to the cabinet, you would grasp the glass firmly, you would walk over to the sink, you would flip the water all the while you're holding onto the glass saying, the water has got to come out. I know it will come out. It's got to come out. And with your intensity, odds are, if it's not a strong glass, you'll probably break it in your hand. that's when you are attached to something. In other words, the intensity of your attachment can actually prevent the flow of the energy. It's like forcing something instead of allowing it. Are you with me this far?
I think so.
But it's not quite hitting you the right way.
No, it isn't. And I'm not sure why. In other words, if the person with any given illness or malady really wants it cured and really has an expectation that it will be cured, I still cannot grasp, even with your example.
Okay.
I've never broken a glass in my hand. I've come in, after working in the yard, thirsty enough
we're
to...
exaggerating to make a point. Let's try it this way using your example of having expectation. Expectation can be a blockage, whereas expectancy allows something to flow.
Yes, but if you are able to do what you were able to do in double-blind tests, when the person doesn't even know, why does their knowing foul it up? I guess.
Because suddenly we become attached to something and block it with our anticipation. We go into a state of expectation, which means we expect certain results and we want them to occur in a certain fashion. Instead of saying, this is what I want from the universe, and now I trust the universe to bring it about for me in its own fashion and way, you begin to prescribe the manner and form in which you would like it to come. And your intensity with it, they speak of efforting, even in such groups such as Alcoholics Anonymous and such. Efforting is forcing to do something.
Yes.
And whereby if you replace your words of try, could, should, force, make, with terms like allow and flow. I don't understand this myself, being quite a type A personality. This goes against, my nature originally. But somehow or other, certain things, the more you try to force them, the more you interfere with them.
All right, the University of Arizona is conducting continuing testing on you. What specifically are they doing? What has been done so far, and what have
we're actually pretty excited about one study which seems to be first in line for publication, we hope. And this is a study that is quite simple in its elegance. What we've done was we took some students and some students and I sort of under supervision of the PhD research heads were placed into a blackened room, and for 6 hours of research, which actually ended up taking about 10 hours a day for a period of time, we would sit with one person, not that the room was black and wasn't enough, but he was blindfolded. One person would be the transmitter and one person would be a sender. Okay, so there was a transcriber, a sender, and a receiver is the way I should phrase this.
Yes.
And what would happen was we would start off where the person who was blindfolded was told to feel for this new frequency or energetic that seems to be coming through. If I were the one sending it, for example, I would be told to hold my hands in a certain position, either move them or not move them.
Yes.
The person receiving would then have to say it's coming through this hand, and have to feel for it and find it.
Right.
So in other words, the essence initially of the study was really to determine whether there was some kind of a subtle or more than subtle energy coming through.
Gotcha.
The people who would say that you don't have to learn how to feel a wall, because obviously if you smack into a wall, you know it's there, would say that if you are trying to learn to feel some kind of a subtle energy, then you're deluding yourself, you are talking yourself into its existence. So the initial day that we worked, we came up with an accuracy level of approximately 65%. Now,
in other words, you're telling me 65% of the time, the people blindfolded
could feel the energy.
Could identify, not only feel, but identify where the energy was on their body. Is that correct?
Correct. That was day one. Now, let's say for the first week, we had an increasing degree of accuracy. By the end of the week, we had gone to approximately a 90% average.
90%?
Yes. Now, I will tell you that on Thursday, the fourth day, we'd actually dropped a little bit. But that was a day where we were a little tense. There was some stress going on. And, of course, we were a little, weirded out.
Yeah, but that is so far above the...
Oh, yes. But now listen to the implications of this. They go beyond what some people might see right away. What this study had proven was that we had developed a learning curve. The significance of having established a learning curve means you can't learn to feel something that isn't there, can you?
Right. No.
No. So you would think that something this simple and elegant in its nature would have been done before and published, but it has not been. So this is what we expect to come out initially.
So you're telling me the University of Arizona or a professor there is going to publish this paper?
The department, the Human Energies Research, something like that, Human Energy Systems Research Laboratory. Dr. Gary Schwartz and Linda Resick, who you've interviewed Gary at least twice with one of his recent books.
He's going to publish?
Yes. And he is planning on having this one published already. He said this one is complete and publishable.
Oh,
now,
my.
I'll tell you, if you want, I'll tell you about the second one that is a pilot, but we feel clear enough that we're going to move forward with next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, you'll notice that a lot of people talk about healing, talk about love, right?
Yes.
Okay. And even in the Green Mile, even used when not used appropriately, he would say, people are killing themselves with their love when it's misused. We did studies where we set one person as a subject into a chair and wired EKGs and EEGs. So in other words, we took measurements of their brain waves and their heart waves. We wired the heart wave, also the EKG, to me. And I stood over them at a distance,
right,
and would work with my hands.
Right.
In their brain waves, in their EEG, came my heart waves precisely reproduced consistently.
You mean your heartbeat?
Yeah, the wave, the precise wave of my heart. You know how, like, when you watch a machine, like a heartbeat in a hospital or something, and you see the peaks and the valleys?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. My pattern, my heart pattern, came consistently reproduced in their brain waves.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Now, we don't know fully or even, anywhere past just surfacely what this means, beyond the fact that it is quite amazing that for all the talk and understanding, especially for those like Daniel Brinkley and others who have come back and will speak with such profound clarity on the experience of what love is in a near-death experience. It is not soppy Hallmark card greeting love where you